Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Hey man, I'm relieved.
One of the things that you brought up was knowing what works for you and what doesn't work for you, right? And so I think in order to do that, you need to have a very strong sense of like self, right? And which to me means that you have to have energy and you have to get, energized and inspired kind of outside of the workplace. And so, how do you like find inspiration outside of the workplace? How do you get that energy outside of the workplace? And secondly, how important do you think that is for leaders to to bring that outside stuff into the workplace?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. I mean, I think balance, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I think balance is important. You can't live work or you'll get burnout. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you'll get bored, you'll get burnout. You have to have energy because your batteries are recharged. For me, my faith is a big thing. Um, just time to disconnect, dedicated little time during the day, kind of understanding that your purpose is something else other than this job, right? Um, you don't have to. I've got a 16-year-old son, and I'm in this stage of life where I'm trying to explain to him, you don't have to know what you're going to do, but what you have to know is how you're going to go about doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And work ethic is what's going to carry you, regardless of what it is. So, you have to have that work ethic, and it's especially in the service business, I do things people don't want to do. That's why they outsource it. That's what we do as a company. So it's not in like doing the things I want to do. It's knowing that whatever I'm do, I'm going to do it. Do it all the way. And then as you are fortunate enough to stay a part of a team, it becomes less about ambition or energy and just showing up for your teammate. It's the age old kind of military thing. Like I'm working hard for the guy next to me or the girl next to me and my team. And then once you can build that and get a culture going, and then you just feed off of that, and the more success you see in that, and the more pride you take in your team, the more energy you bring to the group, and then it's the flywheel turns. So that's my big thing. I'm a big hobby guy. Everybody says, "Oh, I'll work forever." Hell no, not me. When I hang it up, I'm going to disappear into the wilderness, never to be seen again. Right? Um, but while I'm here, I'm going to go hard and give it all I got. I grew up with farmers, out in the country and just hardworking blue collar people, and that's just kind of the mentality. And I don't guess I took a little bit of that. And I'm thankful for it. How about you? You have you're great in my friend pie because we're so alike and so different. Like I just,
Right.
what kind of energizes you?
I think the last year or so, I've really been focusing a lot on making sure that my life outside of work is giving me energy. And so, I really like to learn new stuff. And so for me, it's on the weekends, no work at all on the weekends. And it's jujitsu. I just started taking piano lessons. I've got a 3-year-old daughter, so playing with my 3-year-old, going to the pool or going to the park or whatever, and just really having downtime. For me, having a weekend packed of events does not give me a lot of energy. It kind of feels like I'm back at the office where I have like a pretty stacked calendar. So for me, having unstructured weekends really helps me get energized a lot and really helps me kind of get ready for. I think of weekends as like not really my reward for a week that I worked hard at. I think of it as like a precondition for me to be able to show up on Monday and perform with the team. So you look at like the best professional athletes. Like I was listening to this podcast with LeBron James a few years ago, and he slept through he has his own companies, and he slept through his own Christmas party because he was like, man, I just needed like that recovery time. And so I'm not LeBron James. I'm not even an amateur athlete. nor on any scale of LeBron James. And I think I still, when I hear something from someone who's a superstar that I think I can steal and borrow for my own life on a smaller scale, I definitely try and do it. And so we really try and preach, at the firm, the importance of uh, getting energized and having a life outside of work. It's been difficult for people who come from cultures that are 24/7 work.
Which is that in the lawyer and the attorney space, like that's everything. Like that's a big part of that culture, right?
Some folks that have joined us from companies with those kind of cultures, like I've noticed that sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months for them not to take their laptop home on the weekends or not to take their laptop on vacation. And one of our partners this year went on his first vacation without work, without taking work with him, without working on his laptop. First family vacation in 15 years. 15 years without work. So, like, is it really a vacation if you're working? Like, how can you
Or you're just working away from
unplug
work.
and get refreshed and stuff, And so
How did you?
that's kind of the culture that Brad and I are, really focused on. Is our kind of belief is that if we're really focused on the right things, we can get those things done between Monday and Friday,
Yeah, I
as long
think
as everyone's kind of focused on the right things.
I think you hit on something earlier that's resonates with me for sure. I am a busybody. My
Mm,
relaxation is just doing something that's not in front of a computer. I have to do something. So I tend to just fill my plate.
mm-hmm.
Would do too much. And then so as a company, when we started trying to get better about being deliberate about the things that we were going to do, as a company to try to become better or diversify or cultivate talent, like I had all these things that I knew we need to do and I stacked them all in there. Well, all that did was just deplete my team's energy, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you have, so similar to you, Brent, like I come up with a lot of ideas and then I tend to just drop them and I'm like, let's do it. And they're like, we have 30 million other things to do right now. It's like your idea of the day does not really like make the cut, Zach. So I totally hear you on that.